Welcome to Table Talk Episode 3. I'm your host, Kessyl. Right now we're on this series. It's called When You Were 24, What Are You Doing? So I would send out the 3 same questions to 20 people, and these are the questions that I've asked them. The first one was, when you were 24 years old, what were you doing? As in job-wise or education? And at that time, did you already know what you wanted to do or become? The second question was, if you do know, how did you know? Or if you do not, were there any frustrations? And if you have any frustrations, how did you deal with those thoughts? And the last question was, what are you doing now for a living? It was because I want to see if maybe when they were 24, they might be a content creator and now they are in their 50s and successful. Maybe they are a restaurant owner. So today's story is a Singaporean-based freelance content creator. She talks about how she was tossed around by expectations. Maybe it's from herself or perhaps by people around her. She also talked about how she had to go back and understand her roots. And she said, as she has worded, how Chinese her parents were, her family were, to fully understand herself. She also talked about feeling lost because of the path she has taken and how it was different from her friends. And here is her story.
So when I was 24 years old, that was just last year. I'm turning 25 this October. I just left my job of 4 years in content creation. So I was doing like a lot of things at once, like PR, marketing, digital strategy, and then I was also doing editorial content, like online journalism on several lifestyle platforms and food writing, and it was all fun and games and quite interesting, but I think it lacked deeper purpose for me. So after a long time in that industry, I will always be connected to the media industry and I will always enjoy its function and the wonderful things that are coming out of it, but I think it was time for me to really move on. So after that, I kind of floated around a bit and worked about 6 months in the British Chamber of Commerce doing marcoms in a more structured and corporate setting, because I think I lacked structure in the startup culture and I don't really trust myself with like self-discipline. So I was not sure and I'm still not sure what I want to become, but I know that what I want to do is not just creating content but also creating experiences. So this is very vague and there are lots of ways to create experiences based on what the client needs or what society needs, but there definitely was a lot of unspoken frustration with not knowing what I should be doing now and how I should achieve my very undefined goals. And I felt very lost, to be honest, because I felt like the path that I took was quite different from my friends who went into more conventional settings to work. So it's been a year of like really detaching myself from what I do and realizing that who I am is not based on what I do, but really because of even like who my parents are and what my family and growing up in Singapore really means. I think a lot of it has shaped me, and I didn't even know that these cultural things were shaping me to become who I am. And it took me like to dig into my parents' stories to really discover, oh, actually we are so Chinese, and it sort of gives me a sense of direction as to what kind of foundation I was born into, but also I feel like this generation and this day and age is so different from our parents, and I'm a lot more ambitious in a sense. So it's been a year of working, if I may say, like it's odd jobs, but also it's really content creation and doing what I enjoy and am good at. But right now, I for the past maybe 4 months, I've been working part-time in a production company doing production coordinating. So it's quite administrative, logistic, and we do AVL for like live performances such as Kingdom Invasion Conference. We did Joanna Dong's concert, and we do help a lot of churches with like their auditorium setup and the lighting, the video, the sound equipment that's needed. So meanwhile I was also working in a startup. So this guy who is like a director in UX and UI, which is user interface and user experience, in a big agency, he came out and started his own company, and he asked me on board. He asked me specifically because he felt that I was quite an empathetic journalist. So like just from conversations, we got a sense of like what he wanted to do for companies was what I would be good at, but I'm still not sure that like this is what I should be doing. I'm just here to learn. I think learning is a priority at this point of my life lah. That it doesn't really matter the beautiful resume, but what I carry as in terms of skill and in terms of expertise or knowledge, even if it takes reading in my own time and reading about really odd things, I'm willing to do it. I'm realizing that knowledge, like in the worldly sense, is not as important or not as it's more fleeting than eternal knowledge. Like if you really, really know what God thinks about you, if you really, really know what God has said about you, about your life, that it is good and that you have a future and you have a hope. I think that is something that I am really daily trying to hold on to. Like just today, I spent the whole day like not doing much except watching very beautiful videos, and I went grocery shopping and praying. Like I would never do such things. I don't usually stay at home. I can't really sit still. So this has been very new to me, like about 1 week into just being on my own and like finding what I need to know, like from just sometimes like I feel like I pray and nothing really happens, or I don't feel enlightened, but at the same time I know that he hears, and I'm going somewhere. Even if you feel like you're not paddling forward, it's like the waves are moving you forward because of time. And honestly, the sense of purpose, you can't work for it. You really have to just embrace where you are at in life and know that it's not an age thing, it's not a seasons thing or like how everybody else is doing and what you should be doing, but really I would rather be listless and not know what to do with my time than to spend it all on like destructive things or distractions or things that I shouldn't be doing. So that's my current mindset about. Of course, I feel like I didn't do anything at the end of the day sometimes, like, but I know that deep inside these things, setting aside time to really remember God and think of Him as how He often like 24/7 thinks of us. I think that is so unheard of in our day and age, but it's what keeps our mind it's what keeps our mind strong, honestly, because I feel like those past many years of working, I've just been tossed around like by expectations of myself, and I've thought like, oh, if I carve a different path for myself and my career, then like I truly am not comparable to anybody, and so I have made a place in this world. But it didn't work that way. I think like I felt like after a while it was very just my ambition, what I want to do and what I want to see, but there was very little reference to like my initial purpose and what I have been built for, the skills that I have that others do not have, and the skills that others have that I do not have, and how I can work together with different people and learn from different people. So yeah, right now I'm freelancing a lot also, and I have trouble saying no to a lot of things because people like to ask me to do or write for or work for things, create content that I see no deeper meaning to, and yet sometimes for the money you do it, sometimes for obligation you do it, but ultimately that's time spent still, and you gotta learn to say no, and that's something that I'm starting to see more and more value in. So yeah.
I really love her story personally, how she talked about we are to embrace where we are at our life, and everybody has a different path. You might have a different journey from your friends, and that is okay. And when she spoke about her unspoken frustrations, like all of us have, I guess sometimes it's just a battle for us to fight. And she also talked about how she detached herself from it's like she doesn't base herself or her as a person on what she's doing, and how she in this year she learned to detach herself from that. And yeah, that's a great story from a 25-year-old after working for 4 years and quitting her job, and then now freelancing as she goes on a journey and tries to figure out what she likes. We will continue again this series on Thursday, and I hope you join me again. That's all the time we have for now. I'm Kessyl, and I'll see you tomorrow.